What is going on, everybody? My name is Clutch Sometimes, bringing you some analysis for PBL Season 7. It's a National Dex League that I'm a part of. Doing some analysis with Btown
Hello, everyone.
and M Dragon, as always.
Yeah, what's up, guys?
So, and once again, just like the last time we did this, I hand the reins of the channel over to Btown so he can do his thing. So, without further ado, go right ahead.
Welcome, you guys. This is my first season as the full-time owner. Last season, I was able to, I took over mid-season and was able to bring it to a close, and people enjoyed it enough that I was like, you know what, we're gonna have a season 7 just when Gen 8 comes out, and Gen 8 has finally come out. So now we are gonna go ahead and move on. We've already had our drafts, and we're gonna go ahead and start. We are doing conferences. We're not doing divisions like we had done last season. We're doing conferences. We're doing a sword and a shield conference. We're going to start over in sword, alphabetical order. I guess that starts with the Bloomington Braylooms. All right. You guys planned this, didn't you? So the Bloomington Braylooms are made up of Como-O, Hatterene, Araquanid, Salazzle, Miltank, Pillowswine, Lurantis, Mega Mawile, Thunderous, Liepard, and the Quagdab itself. Strengths and weaknesses of this team.
I really like the offensive synergy on the team is very, very good. I think Como, Mega Mawile, Hatterene, Thunderous is an incredible offensive core, and they all
Yep.
It's a very, very powerful front end. Piloswine's a good rocker. Keeps that pressure off of stuff like Mawile. Webs are nice for Como. Como's broken. I think are we allowing the Omnibus move?
Yes,
Yeah.
we are.
Yeah. There was no...
Oh, yeah.
Right. So Como is broken.
Yeah.
My argument is that literally you could just do a Dragon Dance for him, basically get the same thing and keep a third of your health.
Bulk. Throat spray, yeah. It's very good. It's a very good move.
Yeah.
I think it's balance question mark parentheses. At least you have to sacrifice some of your health.
Yeah, I think it's
unlike
third.
Yeah.
I think it's
instead of like when back in you had the omni boosting Z moves back in Gen 7.
Broken.
Yeah. That was something else.
I think its weakness falls a little more if it's not played a little more aggressively, if it's not played in front, it'll fall behind really quickly. It's kind of susceptible to I'm not sure it's I'm going for there. It obviously has a priority to bail itself out of tricky situations, but it can get overwhelmed. Its defensive roles are very odd.
Right. Yeah, I really like the offensive core of this team. Camo, Mawile, and Tundi, and this Hatterene as well. I think when it comes to weaknesses, maybe the fairy resist of this team is a bit shaky, but Mawile being a really good one. But other than that, Salazzle is not the best fairy resist around.
Yeah.
Especially when you have a Camo on the team.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that Mawile is a very good one though, and it's not only capable of switching in, but also killing fairies very easily. Other than that, I think maybe the mid sort of speed tiers are a little lacking, somewhere around 90 to anywhere 80 or something like that. I know Como is around that speed, but other than Como,
there is kind of a dip off between Como and whatever's next. I think it's Como down to Piloswine or Mawile.
Right.
Same speed tier, but
right. But other than that,
because you've always infamously got on me for not getting a good enough dark type.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
I think darks are interesting this gen. With the lack of pursuit, darks are kind of. I think they're still valuable, but they're not as.
They still are, yeah. I mean, like, yeah, but other than that, I think this team covers like meta spaces really well.
And so, Clutch, question for you: how this team doesn't have a lot of removal options? How big of a role do you think Hatterine's Magic Bounce will play in making up for that?
It'll have a decent role. I think Hatterene can invalidate a few rockers, or like some more like some just like some like more passive rockers in general, stuff or like hazard setters, like stuff like Pharaoh can't really do too much to Hatterene. It's just like the speed tier doesn't match up very well. I was trying to think of something like Pex doesn't match up super well against Hatterene. Without making it, or at least forces it to run Poison Jab. I think Hatterene will be kind of important for hazards. And I think Magic Bounce is one of those things that you can get away with playing really aggressively because it always pays off.
Yeah.
Because you're at least an iron guaranteed. I think the more like the lack of removal can be made up for the fact that you can add like the hazard potential and the ability to pressure just standard hazard setters between Araquanid, Mawile is like really scary. Como, and, like the offensive pressure will allow like kind of force teams to like value either damage over rocks potentially. I think is probably more important here.
It's sorry to interrupt, but just to add on to that, I think hazards are not as good as they used to be in Gen 7 in general, just because of the introduction of heavy duty boots. So something like Araquanid could run it and come in and take nothing from rocks, or something like Lurantis could even run it, come in and defog pretty easily, or Thunders and stuff like that. So yeah.
It's going to be very interesting how often Boots is going to be run and in its place in the meta. It definitely figures to be a game changer, but like, will it be more of a burden to have to put it on there and will we get to a point in the generation where it's just like whatever, we'll take the chip damage. I want a different item.
There might be. I think there might be a bit of like a new choice in terms of the boots, but I think boots are incredible on like a lot of mons. Like, especially
I think
like
it's
more
incredible.
Like on like defensive picks, like stuff like Mandibuzz, Arcanine, exactly.
Yeah.
Without not having to take that rocks on the way in, just like keeps you out of range of so many KOs.
Exactly.
Right, and Dragon. Sorry.
No, it's nothing. I was just gonna say that I think it's personally a game-changing item, like especially for defensive modes.
Now, what do you identify as the kill leader and the X factor for this team?
Kill leader, I would have to give it to Thunders, considering just the player as well is like you pass with it, and it's just a mon capable of getting the kill leader in general. And the X factor would have to be, I'll say Mawile. Like I think Mawile is really important to this team, considering Hatterene and Cameo. So I think your usage of Mawile is going to define how well this team does in general.
Great. Let's go ahead and move on to the team formerly known as the Boston Red Sox, now the Boston Bruins, which, by the way, is an amazing name. Shark pointed it out. It is an amazing name. Very creative. Beardy Dragon coming back again for a second season. He has the broken golem known as Melmetal, the Uniclus, Jellicent, Talonflame, Aromatisse, Rampardos, Rotom Refrigerator and Freezer, Gliscor, Ditto, Fortress, and Virizion, aka Dreamer's second child behind Blossom. Strengths and weaknesses of this team.
So I think there's a lot to like about this team, right? Melmetal, Reuni, Jellicent, Gliscor, I think was a very, very strong start from Beardy. There's a lot that can go on there. It gives him an opportunity in Trick Room with two great setters. Gliscor covers it really well. Reuni Jellicent covers it really well. Talonflame's a great high speed tier. And I think it really brings out kind of the best in Melmetal. just to like be in Trick Room, throw off as many double iron bashes as possible because that move hits just so hard.
Yeah.
It's so silly.
I was doing like half to a Mega Scissor, like it's stupid.
Yeah. And his Iron Fist boosted, hits twice, like it's so good. And the hazard potential of Fortress is interesting. The second steal with Fortress I think is interesting. It's probably okay. I don't think Fortress is that good of a Pokemon.
Yeah.
But I think the hazard the second steal hazards makes sense to me. Because the team does truly lack hazards outside of Gliscor. That's like being able to like have that roll compression for Fortress is very useful.
Yeah, when it comes to weaknesses, I think this team's very weak to fire. Like it's very reliant on Jellicent to be the fire resist. Talonflame is not a great fire resist, neither is Rampardos.
Is that very nice resist. Come on, what are you talking about?
Should have gotten Stonejourner.
Should have gotten Stonejourner. But yeah, I mean, there is no dragon in this team, as far as I can tell. Yeah, just got one.
Dragonless.
Yeah. Which I don't like with Melmetal. I think Melmetal would have been better with Dragon, especially the fact that he's got Fortress as well. And the other thing I see is that, like, outside of Melmetal, I don't see like a huge threat. They're all like good threats. Like I know Rini is a very big one, but I don't see that tier 1 threat, if you know what I mean. And I know he got Gliscor, but yeah, I think that's all I can. They're nitpicks, but that's pretty much all I can think.
Right, now on to Clutch. Anytime a team has Ditto, it always forces the player to have to always have to think of it in the back of their mind so that they don't get reverse swept. How do you think Ditto plays specifically on this team and its strengths and weaknesses for this particular squad?
Well, I think it's a fine pick here.
Yeah.
I think that Beardy's team lacks a really good Scarfer. Because the team is it's kind of relatively more slowly based in general. So like without, the teams that Ditto is best on, Ditto is best. The teams that Ditto, I think is best. Yeah, that's right. I know how to English. Are teams that truly lack like good offensive options as a Scarfer, and this team truly does lack that. Ditto is a great option for Beardy, and will probably make a reasonable amount of appearances for him, just because he kind of needs to become for him to not lose to a specific setup mon or something like that. Like
for sure.
And now, M-Dragon, your kill leader and X Factor for this team.
Yeah, kill leader, I think it's easily Melmetal. I don't think any other one on this team is capable of getting more kills than Melmetal. Maybe Verzion, but that would have to be an extremely well-used Verzion, and I think Melmetal just outclasses.
You're gonna say Reuniclus?
I know that Reuniclus is capable of it, but I still think that Melmetal will be the kill leader of this team. As far as X Factor, I think it's Gliscor, easily.
Yeah. Gliscor takes a huge role on this team, I think.
Yep.
And I think Gliscor is very, very good.
Yeah.
Now, with just like no hidden power, just like having access to recovery, poison heal is as good as ever.
Yep.
Like.
Moving on to our next team, the return of King, coming back for his 7th season. One of the few players who has played in every single season. I believe, off the top of my head, that list includes me, King, and Lolly. I think so. I think that's literally the only 3 people who have been part of other thing. But King is back. The coach of the Florida Fennekins. His team consists of Clefable, Grimmsnarl, Empoleon, Rodamo, Ambipom, Mismagius, as I called it before before this video, Stonejourner, Cinderace, Mega Beedrill, Flygon, and Pigbat. Swoobat for those people who... Anyway, strengths and weaknesses for this team.
You can start.
Strengths. I think this is a pretty fast team overall. It's got a good number of fast mons: Beedrill, Cinderace, Ambipom, Zubat, Flygon's okay, and Stun Journer as well, of course. He's got.
Oh my goodness, I didn't even notice it had 70 speeds.
He took all of its Spadef and put it into speed instead.
Into speed, yeah. Type synergy-wise, I think this team's pretty good. It just looks weird to me that like he's got 2 fairies. It's kind of weird, even though Grimmsnarl is more of a dark, I guess. I don't know. This team feels like something's missing, but I can't put my finger exactly on what that is.
I don't think it has a true wall breaker. Like,
yeah,
this team is like Beedrill is not a wall breaker. I'm not sure. I'm not exactly sure what Beedrill's doing. It's like this team isn't like a momentum style offense, like kind of team which Beedrill like really loves to fit on, where it can bring in stuff on these huge U-turns. But I don't know what it brings in, because Beedrill brings in like grounds, and I guess you go like Rotom. The Rotom Beedrill core is kind of nice. I think Rotom's pretty good.
I suppose, yeah. I think this is just a very king team. Like, it's just a bunch of mons that he really likes. And that's a good thing. Like, I think he does well with mons that he likes, like Clefable and Mew in the past. And he seems to really like Cinderace, so I think we will see some good performances from him with Cinderace.
Speaking of Cinderace, it has that very, very unique move, Court Change. Clutch. How big of a factor do you think that move makes prep against King?
It's interesting against King, because like King's removal options are odd, being that they're Empoleon, Rotom, Beedrill, Fly. I guess he has removal options, but not all of them are like really tempted to run removal very often. So Core Change will like really help him out in that sense, because it'll free up slots on stuff like Empoleon, just run like rocks,
for sure,
protect, knock off, etc. Same thing with like Rotom, because Rotom gets Nasty Plot now. It really is Rotom, like as good as it is with Nasty Plot, will end up like really feeling the pressure of the 4 move slots more than it had
for sure
in last gen.
For sure,
because it's such a good move on it, and like
it is
all that. So.
I feel like Rotomo though of the Rotoms doesn't need to worry about it as much, because it's always just been Leaf Storm, then 2 electric moves, and then Hidden Power, and Hidden Power's gone now.
Yeah.
You still have your statuses, which are really useful, but I do agree. I think Rotomo is a little less pressure to run Nasty Pod over stuff in comparison to something like Rotom Heat, Rotom Wash.
For sure.
So I think Core Change is really useful for King, because like his team is a little like spike stacking, stuff like you want to get your spikes up for Beedrill, Empoleon, Grimmsnarl, all that. So like Core Change is going to help out pretty big there, especially since like rocks are going to always go up against King. I feel, because Beedrill.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Another thing I will note is that he's got Grimmsnarl, which can set up screens, but he doesn't have a true like setup abuser of those screens. Like, I know that Clef can set up, but doesn't really need screens. And his other 2 setup are like kind of low tiers, and Flygon and Zubat.
I guess like and Rotom can set up, so like he can have some offensive like sets, but like they're very non-traditional.
I don't see that tier 1 setup threat.
Yeah, there's no like Haxorus, Landorus kind of thing going on there.
The Reflect isn't saving Mega Beedrill from a physical hit.
Not really.
No, not really.
Alright, and M-Dragon, your kill leader and X Factor.
My kill leader is Cinderace, and X Factor is Clefable, because it's King.
Right, moving on to our next team, the Lancashire Luxrays, coached by FaZe. He has a team that gives a friend of ours, Link, very bad PTSD, but overall, still a very threatening team, and one that he could definitely do a lot of damage with. It consists of Tyranitar, Tangrowth, Inteleon, Hitmontop, Musharna, Stoutland, Garbodor, Excadrill, Mega Charizard Y, Wigglytuff, and Manectric. Strengths and weaknesses of this team.
So I think the top 9 mons are very good. Tar down to Charizard Y are very good picks. I think Wigglytuff and Manectric are kind of thrown on there. Wigglytuff, I guess, is a fairy, so it might see some use, but Manectric is not good. I get, I understand why it's there. It's another like way of pressuring waters, but I don't think it's a Manectric. It's a hidden powerless Manectric.
Yeah.
So, but
it's a meme electric type, as he refers to it himself.
Yeah. I think that it's very good that FaZe grabbed speed. That was not just his sand core. I think personally that was what Link's downfall was when he had his team. He was very based in like the weather for his speed control. So it forced him to a lot of awkward positions that way.
Right.
So having Inteleon will really help out in that. Just like adds momentum, brings in stuff like Drill, brings in Charizard Y on grasses. They come and try to check Inteleon. So I think it has a lot of options there. I think the spikes from Garbodor are going to be really useful. I think this team could do very, very well, for sure.
For sure. I don't like that Charizard Y is like one of those only mons that can't use boots. It really sucks because I can't tell you how much Charizard Y would love boots. Like, it would be so amazing.
Can we give Charizard Y 2 items? Thanks.
I understand why he has the Hitmontop, but I still don't think it's like a great mon. Like, it's okay. It can spin, I guess. I like Tyranitar, Excadrill, Tangrowth a lot. It's like tried and true core there. But yeah, like Clutch said, like Wigglytuff and Manectric, like I'm not sure that they're ever gonna do anything. Like, even though Wigglytuff's a fairy, like it's okay. Like, I don't think you can do too much.
You've got an Excadrill, that'll be okay.
Yeah. And speaking of which, this team does look pretty weak to fighting, I think. Even though he's got the
Anytime you pair Tyranitar with Excadrill instead of Hippowdon with Excadrill, you are making yourself weak for fighing.
Yeah, pretty much.
What else you do.
Pretty much.
For sure. But I think, like, having a fairy that resists fighting would have helped. But in this case, it's Wigglytuff. But you can't have everything. I think this team is capable of performing very well either way. Like Clutch said, I really like Inteleon on this team. It's not half bad. It can do things. It can be fast.
It's like Gren, but without spikes, essentially.
Yeah. I mean, it has a good special attack. Like, it can hit like pretty hard-ish. So, like, yeah. I mean, I like this team a lot. I think it has a lot of potential. I think Excadrill is great paired with Charizard Y, and if he can keep the hazards off with Charizard Y, it's going to be an insane mon, as it always has been.
Yeah.
Speaking of Charizard Y, I kind of alluded to the fact that it is a dual weather team, but for those who weren't at the draft, it wasn't intended to be. How do you think that he will use the dual weather, or do you think it's more of a also I just happen to have Charizard Y, or are we expecting some chlorophyll Tangrowth sweeps in the future?
I mean the Tangrowth is obviously an option, but I think it's just more of a sand, and then there's a Charizard Y to kind of kill every grass type that ever existed kind of thing going on there. Like, it's a very tried and true thing that's been kind of around since Charizard Y existed.
Exactly.
Like, Charizard Y just fits sand really naturally because Drill's a great spinner for it, and Drill's just a good spinner. So you keep all your hazards up. You set with Tar, you set with Garbodor. In this case, the Tar sets the rocks. Drill spins away all the rocks and brings it, and Charizard comes in all the grass types to try to check the Excadrill. So like, it's not forcing FaZe to play like around with his weather. Maybe it will if he really needs the speed boost from Drill or something like that. But so we'll take a little bit of careful planning, but it's really just kind of there as a true breaker for the team. So like stuff like Tar and Drill don't have to take that load themselves, I feel.
All right, and then Dragon, Kill Leader, and X Factor.
Okay, so kill leader, I will go with Charizard Y, and as for
interesting.
X-Factor, yeah, I think Charizard Y is it's just I don't think any teams have such chance. Like that's pretty much my take on it.
Oh, he gets Hurricane now. He gets 50% accurate
Right.
Hurricane.
It gets the 50% accurate Hurricane as well. So yeah, but yeah, as for X
They improved
Factor,
Hurricane's accuracy? Nice.
I think I'll go with Excadrill. It's kind of an obvious one, but yeah, that's what I'd go with.
I feel like that definitely wasn't expecting that, but yeah, Excadrill could definitely be. This team could definitely be both a sweeper and a support mon. Yeah,
For sure.
definitely.
For sure.
Moving on, we have the return of one of the OG PBL members, as Frozen is back in competitive Pokemon with the return of Gen 8 and his new team, at least new team name for the PBL. He's had this team name for a while in other leagues, but the Garden State Gudras have been retired. We are now with the New York Red Bulbas. The team consists of Mew, Alolan Muck, Moltres, Primarina, Noivern, Gorgeist, Zangoose, Terrakion, Rotomwash, Steelix, and Broken Scolipede Jr. without the speed boost or Lapido. Strengths and weaknesses of this team.
So it's a very Frozen team.
Yeah,
To be
exactly.
honest. It's all mons that I've seen Frozen have success with in the past. Stuff like things that have gotten better. Stuff like Moltres have gotten better. Primarina is incredible now. I think it has access to Calm Mind now. I think it also has access to Whirlpool as well.
Yep.
So like, it's very, very good.
So it's made Azu obsolete then.
They're different.
I mean, non-support Azu obsolete.
They're different. Rotom is obviously a good pick for the team. Muck is still a good dark, and he has the good Nox, which is supported in Terrakion. Like this, is just it's a very solid team. And it does look like something that's out of Gen 7, but I think that's okay.
Yeah. I think that's okay. I think he's got a lot of moves that's received buffs, and the most notable one is Mew. It can do pretty much anything. Like I know we used to say that in Gen 7, but
Access
it was
to Dragon Dance is huge.
Yeah. It wasn't completely true last gen, but this gen it's actually true. Like it can literally do anything. And yeah, this is a Frozen team. It looks like a team that when you look at it, it has Frozen written all over it, and that's a good thing. He's got great speed. I think Moltres is like really good this gen. Can just come fire off really like strong attacks. Mach is still one of the better darks. Mew can do like anything you want it to do. Rotom's really good this gen. It can like nasty plot up.
Yeah, Rotom became.
Rotom
went from being a good like tier 2 to like arguably like in this case it is now a tier 1.
Yeah,
I think
it is as it should be
because it's just like good stabs with like the ability to hit opposing stuff.
The thing with Rotom before this was like it was always this one that you could not OHKO easily. Especially this gen, there is no Z, and you can't really OHKO Rotom unless you are a Breloom or like I don't know, like Kartana or something like that. And for a mon that gets nasty plot, that's really good. Like you can get like 2-3 kills in a game. And Trackyons, outside of the unreliability of Stone Edge, it's about as it hates losing.
Stone Edge hits 100% of the time.
Hits 80% of the time. Every time.
Yeah, I think it's still a great band user, great rocker, taunt, and all that. It's just a good team. It's just a great team. I think it's one of the better teams in the league, easily.
I agree.
All right, Clutch. I have a very interesting question for you, and it's about Muck. You're saying that not much of a nerf, but not little known, but maybe an under the radar thing is that the health berries have gotten a nerf from 50% to 33%. How do you feel that impacts muck.
Oh, it's a heavy impact, I feel.
Yeah.
Essentially it was essentially just clicking recover when you had the berry, which made it literally like it almost felt like muck was impossible to kill at times because you had to like knock it off or taunt it, make sure it could recycle. I hated playing muck. Every time I played muck, I just like hated it because it's such a bear, and all the sets and all that. I think you'll start seeing different muck sets just to like try and replicate that.
Start creating more creativity. You think?
Yeah, I think it'll kind of force muck to have a little more creativity. I think you'll probably start seeing Resto Chesto potentially a little bit more often. Just which is honestly just as daunting. You'll start seeing maybe probably a little more Assault Vest here and there. Even though Assault Vest was a good set last year, you'll probably see it a little more. Pain Split will probably come back around.
Black Sludge,
yeah. Protect even just.
I still think it's one of the best dogs in the format, just by basis of its typing and what it can do.
It's still such a it's so bulky and so hard to bring down just in one hit.
Yeah,
for the most part. So
there's no doubt that that basically the Recycle Curse set was a huge part of the Gen 7 experience, and
everyone got smacked by that set at least once.
Yeah,
I think.
For sure.
Everyone's allowed one. Alright. And M-Dragon, you are Kill Leader and X Factor.
Kill Leader is kind of a tough one, but I will go with Mew, though that's a very obvious one. And as for X Factor, I'll go with Road and Wash.
I was gonna say Moltres, to be honest. I think Moltres is a huge piece.
For sure. I just think that Rotom with just all of its options are gonna be.
It's just Rotom.
Yeah.
Rotom Bolt with and the Moltres is gonna be just a daunting task for some teams, though.
By the way, M-Dragon, your Season 4 Gourgeist weeps that you never mentioned it once during this.
Yeah, I mean, I recommended it to him, as you might expect. It's a great mon. Like, it's just really good. Like, it has a lot of options, and it sucks that it lost Z, but it's great on this team. It's a great portal resist. It's just fat wisps and all that. And it's a great fighting answer, which I love on this team because you can have like Mew do whatever it wants, and Gourgeist can be in the back, and pretty much no fighting types can break Gourgeist. So, yeah. But
Next team, a first timer to the draft league, but not a first timer to competitive in general, but to draft league, is Taylor, coach of the Origin 3. By the way, really love the logo. Really cool logo. Not a traditional logo, but still really, really cool. His team consists of Landorus Therian, aka I will be banned by Season 8. Dragon Dance and some really other dumb stuff. Pelipper.
Brave Lando Wen.
Metagross, Dormanitan, Alolan Raichu, Kabutops, Leafeon, Mega Swampert, Sylveon, Mienshao, and Altaria. Strengths and weaknesses of this team. And I mean, obviously, the first one is Lando.
Yeah, Lando's just Lando. You can put Lando on literally almost any team, and it'll be good. To be honest, it's just kind of how Lando works.
You kind of started touching upon it with Gliscor, the loss of hidden power.
Oh my god,
and
it's so nice, especially for like Lando, because it's already so bulky, and like so electrics. Nowadays, more electrics. There are only like a couple electrics that actually hit Landorus for hard damage with Surf. I think it's like Heliolisk and Raichu, I think.
Right, sure. I think that's probably it. Maybe Heliolisk, yeah.
Yeah. I think the rain is interesting. I think it'll probably work. But you probably see the Landorus more defensive roles, taking on the offensive kind of.
Yeah.
Although Mega Bird can run defensive sets, don't sleep. I think it's actually kind of an interesting one.
It can, yeah.
it's got like good pieces. You know, you get Landorus, you get Metagross, Darmanitan, Sylveon, Mienshao. The team's not forced to bring rain. However, like Pelipper is the kind of the water of the team, so like it's kind of an interesting dynamic there, I think.
For sure.
Tops isn't the water of the team? What do you mean?
He's not forced to bring rain, but he would be if he doesn't opt to bring rain. He is kind of like forcing himself into like some of his. I would say iffier tier 5s, Leafeon, Altaria.
I'll defend Leafeon. Leafeon can hit hard.
It can, but
but it's a Leafeon.
Yeah,
Come on.
it's got Leaf Blade, and that's kind of it.
I mean, like, kind of adding on to that, this team looks very weak to water. Like, I don't like that this team's water resists are Leafeon and Altaria. Like, I know Pelipper is a thing, but it's just making water stronger, and it can't really touch water anyway. Like, you turn out with. That's it. I don't know, like, especially when you have Landorus, I feel like this team should have had like a better water resist and an ice resist, which kind of ties into the fact that Landorus rain I think is weird in general, but I think it can still work. Like, I don't think it's ideal or that it's typical. I don't think I've ever seen Landorus rain.
I think didn't Wolf win WBE season 1 with Landorus Rain? I think he did.
Oh, did he?
It was a weird team, but I think
crazy.
he did.
That is
crazy. Claim that Lando can work on any team, so we're gonna test that theory.
It can. I just never see it. Like, it's always like torn on rain.
Yeah.
Or Tundras, but it's mostly torn. But yeah. Anyway, I think Darm is kind of weird as well. Like. It's a great mod.
That was actually going to be my question for Clutch, actually, and how Darmanitan. Obviously, there's the new Galar form that everyone is basically like raving about, but I mean, the original one is still hits like a truck. But how much limiting is the fact that its main move, Flare Blitz, could at any moment be halved by rain up?
I mean, it's annoying in like some senses, because sometimes you just really need to get your Darm in to like click Flare Blitz, because that's what Darm does. It clicks its one stab move until it dies, essentially. I love.
It clicks U-turn, but that
it clicks Flare Blitz and U-turn, essentially, and. It's very, very good.
Flare Blitz, it clicks U-turn.
Yeah. Well, you go to your water, click U-turn. It's just something you have to kind of adjust to and play. Making sure your rain's not up for too long. You probably won't see Pelipper running Damprock too much on this team, just because like you need to keep stuff like Darm around. You don't want your Landorus to be in rain for too long, because you know the strength of those random hits coming at it.
Maybe see Pelipper kind of be might be like a late game kind of thing where
you'll see more pert end games more than you'll see pert in the mid game. I feel on this kind of team.
Yeah.
It's Kill Leader and X Factor.
My Kill Leader is Mega Swampert, and X Factor is I want to say Landorus, but I also kind of want to say Pelipper. It's kind of weird, but I'll go with Landorus.
Moving on to a gentleman who was very nice to help sub in last season and has now come aboard as a full-time coach, and that is Sam I still don't know how to pronounce it. Istaboli.
Just it's not worth it. It's not worth it.
Sam. Go to the Seattle Supersonic, which is another awesome name, by the way. I love the little Magnemite logo. It's really, really cool. He has a team of Mega Gallade, Nidoqueen, Whimsicott, Boltund? Is Boltund? Boltund? My apologies, I'm still working on the Gen 8 pronunciations. Galissopod, and that one just in general is always kind of... Typhlosion, Alolan Raticate, Dracovish, Corviknight, Claydol, and the god itself, Trapinch. Strengths and weaknesses. Other than obviously Trapinch.
Gallade and Dracovish have 0 switch-ins. That's ridiculous. I really think that pairing is incredible. It's just like you stare at those two and you're like, well, you kind of want to click X just staring at those two immediately, to be honest. Corviknight's a good pivot. I think Pod is kind of an underrated pick on this team. I think Spike's really useful for this kind of team, and the ability for it to like terrorize psychics with first impression is really cool as well.
For sure.
Corv is really cool. I'm actually really excited to see what Corv does. Because I think it's been really good on ladder so far. It's like the one S tier on ladder right now. So I think it's very, very has a ton of potential in the right hands. I think this is the kind of team that could like really do a lot with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is a team that covers like all bases really well. It's got good speed. It's got really good wall breakers, good hazards.
It's got the greatest wall breakers to ever exist.
It's when it comes to wall breakers, I don't think it gets any better than Mega Gallade and
Dracovish.
Yeah, good cleaner in Btown. I think Btown's like pretty good actually. Like, it's got strong jaw and a decent attack and very good speed. Speed ties with Tornty. Whimsicott's a good support mon. Good hazards and Nidoqueen and Golisopod. Overnight,
I guess.
Yeah, it's a thing. He's still got the triple ground core going, even in Gen 8.
even in Gen 8. Power, no problem.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I love this team. This is a very colorful team. I know that's not really a factor, but it just looks nice. And
Little did M Dragon know that this season's results are based entirely
on color scheme.
Yeah, I love Corviknight. I think it's great. I think it's gonna be great on this team. I like the momentum that this team has. As for things I don't like Eradicate. I don't know what it does.
It's a dark type.
It's a dark type. Claydol as well.
This version of I added a light part to my team.
Honestly, I think a rat is actually like not a bad Pokemon. It is certainly not a good dark type, but it's very very frail and will die to like resisted hits. I think.
Yeah.
But as a like wall breaker, if it gets a free turn and it lands its attack, it's actually very very strong.
Yeah. It probably dies to Psychic. Let's be honest.
That's weird. Miracle Eye is gone. Somehow it's still died to Psychic.
But yeah, that's about it. It's a very solid team in general.
Hey, Clutch, I gotta ask you, since you are our resident Trapinch expert.
Oh boy.
This Trapinch trapping for this team.
It's gonna trap. It can trap electrics for Corv and like allow Corv to like really like exist freely. Because that's like that's how people pressure Corv, right? They just go to their fires, their electrics. And like, Corv would just U-turn out Dracovish and kill the fires, but like, you can eventually get traps on like electrics with Trapinch, which is huge for like stuff like Corv especially, because Corv runs can run a lot of like setup sets without electrics around.
Yep.
Trapinch won't see a lot of play though, I don't think, but it could see some play as it's go.
I think it's not a necessity. It's more of a, just be sure that you don't act, you don't go like full force on him because you never know. There might be a Trapinch on the way.
Yep.
All right. Kill Leader and X Factor. This is probably gonna be a tough one, but for Kill Leader.
Oh man.
Kill Leader. This one is very tough, but I'm gonna go with Mega Gallade because personal bias.
Also,
no.
Water Absorb exists. That can stop Dracovish. There's nothing really that exists that can stop Mega Gallade.
Yeah, I mean, Mega Gallade is still a Mega Gallade. It's got the speed, it's got the bulk, it's got the power, it's got the coverage. Like, I don't think there's anything that can deny that Mega Gallade is like, it's just it. And as for X Factor, I'll go with Corviknight.
Now we are moving on to our final team in the in the Sword Conference, and that is the Sherbrooke Venusaur, coached by Zoro. His team consists of the suddenly extremely terrifying Mega Blastoise, Scizor, Shaman, Umbreon, Regirock, Weezing, the meme Shedinja, which actually, I'm actually low-key, that might actually be a decent pick with HP Gun, Runerigus, Slurpuff, Lantern, and Latios. Strengths and weaknesses of this team.
So Mega Blastoise is broken. Like Mega Blastoise, you just run Mega Blastoise counts. I'm just like, those are stupid. Tuakil and Chansey
specifically Mega Blastoise with Mega Launcher.
Yeah, because Tuakil and Chansey is very Tuakil and Chansey with a special attack is very, very hard, and Mega Blastoise
it's almost impossible. Like I've seen like Tundi T do it with like a +4 Focus Blast, and that's a very strong attack.
Yeah, so plus 2 auras for your Tuakil's Chansey, and it's kind of stupid.
Yeah.
But, and Mega Blastoise is a very, very good Mega, and will literally is a win con in so many different matchups. I think, I think the spin buff is even huge for it too, because it gets the speed boost and becomes more threatening that way. If you don't think you just pull off the Shell Smash, but
the person who did the Gen 8 mechanics really, really liked the Blastoise line and wanted it to be better than the Charizard line.
My brother's the undefeated champion. Has his trusty Charizard. I do think Blastoise is probably the anchor of the team. Latios is very good. It is the fastest mon on the team, though. I think that's kind of an issue, especially with the full dex.
That's an issue for sure, but I feel like Zoro always does that, and he's fine. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
I can't. He got the last round Latios, and I was just looking at the team, just like, how is your fastest mon Shaman? The team is very, very slow. It does have it's a lot more of a bulky offense kind of thing, which works to his credit. It will work because it's just good. Blastoise is probably broken anyway.
For sure.
But yes, that's my thoughts.
Yeah, I think this team has like a lot of weird mons that I don't really know what to think about, like Umbreon and Slowpuff and Regirock's okay. Scizor I think has a lot of potential this gen.
No HP is nice.
Yeah, I think he can like set up SD on a lot of different stuff this gen and proceed to win. So it's a really nice win-con pair with Mega Blastoise, with Latios as well supporting that. I love that he's got Lantern on the team. It's a good bulky water. He's not forced to run Mega Blastoise bulky.
It's a water absorb mon, so he plays Draco-ish.
Right. He's gonna need that. Because I'm pretty sure Shaman takes like
I feel like Shaman gets 2 KO'd.
Yeah, and Shaman cannot KO back because it's neutral.
Yeah.
Anyways, Weezing I think is pretty good. Runerigus it's pretty cool. Yeah, I think it kind of looks like an average team, to be honest. Like I don't see like a massive threat other than Mega Blastoise, and even that like it needs to set up to get going. But I feel like Zoro will make it work as he has done in the past. I think that's like the best way I can put it.
So Shedinja, everyone knows the 5 weaknesses that can kill it, especially now with the boots.
Yeah.
Is that create paranoia upon opponents that they need to have at least one of those 5 move types on the majority of their mons, or else they would be unable to kill it.
I mean, maybe.
Maybe, but they can also carry just like Toxic.
Yeah.
So.
Because like Toxic is kind of there against this team for the most part. Stuff like Runerigus, Shaman, Umbreon. Not necessarily Shaman, but like Umbreon. It's gonna come for Blastoise.
Yeah.
The fact he doesn't have Grounded Poison is gonna help like with T-Spikes, but I guess like the boots could block him.
Alright.
Shouldn't just interesting. I think it may come and it may do something but it's very odd. I've never been able to figure out what to do with the Shedinja.
Yeah.
I love the
I
Shedinja.
feel that if this gen, if you're gonna try it out, this gen would probably be the gen to try it out.
Also, I always thought it was funny that Shedinja has defense stats. I always thought that was really funny. I'm not sure why it has defense since BDF, because it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
All 236 should just be an attack.
Yeah. Facts. Also, Latios kind of got buffed because of Null Pursuit, so
Yeah.
I think Latios is better this gen, slightly, but
Without Z moves.
it's still nice.
No Z moves.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Latios ever needed Z moves. Like
It was
hits,
very
yeah.
nice, though.
Yeah, it was
Nice
nice.
to not have to get a superpowered Draco and not go -2.
You essentially got 2 Dracos on big sets.
Yeah,
Right.
I think Latios will still be a good big threat, especially like not having to run Cobalt Berries. I think it's kind of good. Yeah.
So is that your X Factor or Kill Leader?
Kill Leader will be Mega Blastoise.
Yeah,
because-
100%, no doubt.
No doubt.
There's no
X Factor is Shaman because I also take the coach into account.
Those who do not know, Shaman is his child. He actually has legal papers that say that Shaman is
Yep.
his child. Now we are moving on to the Shield Conference, and we are going to go ahead and start off with the Canton Crocodiles, coached by Rich. Very interesting team with the suddenly legal, because my stats shifted just enough that I'm not too broken, Aegis Clash. Dracozolt, Indeedee, Porygon Z, the Galar Rapidash, My Little Pony, Passimian, Cramorant, Mega Aerodactyl, Entei, Eldegoss, and Daboss, Honchkrow. Strengths and weaknesses of this team.
Strengths wise, this team is it's pretty nice offensively. I think it's got Iggy Slash and Dracozolt, and Indeedee with the Psychic Terrain, Indeedee Male, which is the stronger one. Passimian's cool. Mega Arrow is very good as always. Honchkrow is cool. I don't know about Cramorant though. I don't think it does anything.
Cramorant's not good.
Entei I think is still kind of bad, but we'll see. It's a tier 3 now, so maybe better. Rapidash is kind of cool, and it could be okay in Psychic Terrain. It could be hitting harder, and it did get access to SD in this gen, which is pretty cool.
Did not know that. Wow.
Yeah, it gets SD, gets like high horsepower. Stabs are obviously very good. Stabs high horsepower is obviously like, honestly like a really good set. I think it gets access to like Healing Wish as well. It's a very interesting Pokemon. I think it'll be a budget area. We'll see it on a lot of teams. I feel like as the gen continues. I think Aegis Slash. Did I say AG? I don't know. Aegis Slash I think is very good. I think it's definitely something that like. I think Aegis Slash requires a lot of thought to play in draft.
For sure.
It's a very good mon, and you'll get what you put into Aegis Slash. You get out what you put into Aegis Slash. It's got a ton of sets, and it's very high potential mon. Dracozolt I think is very good. Well, it's very good, but it's also very odd. I think my big issue with the team is that I don't think Eldegoss is a very good ground resist. I think Eldegoss is kind of bad.
Yeah.
He has the triple flying plus Eldegoss, so like it has like ground checks to like support Dracozolt AG, but I'm not too confident in Eldegoss as a Pokemon, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it's okay. Its biggest problem is it can't do anything.
Yeah, it's
Like-
kind of my problem. It sits there and then it kind of
Yeah.
stops doing things. It can't knock things off like Tangela.
It can't U-turn out. It can't it just
Yeah,
can
it's-
rapid spin, and that's about it.
Yeah. The speed gap is a bit worrying as well between Arrow and Rapidash. You kind of would like
Right.
to get
To be fair,
close.
when you have when you have a mega arrow, there's going to be a speed gap.
You would like something. You would like to think that you get something that could get at least in the 120s around arrow, because you're not going to match arrow or bridge perfectly down from arrow. It's very difficult, and it's literally nearly impossible. Yeah. It's with while maintaining other speed tiers down below, but you'd like to see them up into the 120s.
For sure.
No ground, I think, is really interesting.
Yeah, it kind of sucks, especially when you have 3 flyings.
Yeah, I think it's really risky.
Yeah.
I think the big thing that I think is kind of frustrating to me is he doesn't have any rockers really. It's arrow is his only rocker, so a ground would fit that. A ground would help. In that sense.
I didn't even notice that. That's kind of big.
Yeah, the fact that your only rocker is arrow is going to take put a lot of pressure on arrow to come to games just to rock. Just kind of unfortunate for Arrow, because Arrow has so many options you want to free it up on.
Right.
Also could be a situation where, to play devil's advocate, that this could be a team where it doesn't want to waste time doing that and just wants to, just get busy to.
Yeah, you want to click. You just click your attacks with AG and Drake so needy and poor. This team can click attacks. There's no doubt. The first 4, 5, 6 months can all just spam their stabs at teams.
For sure.
Be annoying to switch into. It's a team full of big breakers and good momentum options. And I think it's probably where this team will thrive at, if it would thrive at it, honestly.
Yeah.
Right, now we've switched conferences, so we're switching roles now. M-Dragon, this question is for you. In our tiering, Dracovish was considered one of the most deadliest mons because of its ability and move its move combo of basically being like a base 160. Dracozone also has that, but for some reason is considered the lesser of the two. How do you think that? Obviously, water is a better stab than electric, but how do you think he would be able to really get the most out of Dracozolt?
One, he needs to not miss, and 2, he needs to deal with grounds, which, again, as we were talking about previously, his ways of dealing with grounds are not amazing in this draft. He doesn't have the good water type that he can bring in and just spam something. And Eldegoss, while it can sort of deal with grounds, it's very
it's the one thing it can deal with, actually.
Yeah,
right.
That's the one thing Eldegoss does do.
So to answer your question, in order to do that, I think he's going to have to use his other ground weaknesses more smartly. So Entei and X-Slash specifically, he's got to use those to kind of lure grounds and weaken them, and get rid of them, and then Dracozolt can go in and start doing stuff.
All right, and now our kill leader and X Factor clutch.
Kill leader, I think will actually end up being Dracozolt, because you kill the ground type eventually with Chip and you just Dragon Claw it to death or something.
Yeah.
And then eventually you start spamming Bolt Beak, and it's stupid. Bolt Beak is stupid.
Yeah.
Just as stupid calcs as Vicious does. I think the X Factor is definitely Aegislash though. It's Aegislash. It's so good. I think Aegislash is just so good. Even in, especially in Psychic Terrain, in DD, it'll be a great check to all that stuff. Especially as in DD is there as a ghost immunity as well, which is really cool. So yeah, kill leader Dracozolt, X Factor Aegislash.
Yep.
Alright, moving on to M-Dragon's favorite draft of the entire. We have the third of our 3 amigos who have been in every single season of the PBL. We have Lolly, the coach of the Copenhagen Cabalions, with a draft of Hydreigon, Buzzwole, Tentacruel, Registeel, Mesprit, Rotom, Torterra, 5th round Tapu Lele, that's very worth noting, Meloetta, Kangaskhan, and Alamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamamam. strengths and weaknesses of this team.
Strengths-wise, Lele, Hydreigon, and Buzzwole as well. So very, very, very good offensively. Yeah, I think Hydreigon is just one of the best Pokemon around this gen. It's capable of just doing a lot of different stuff. It's a really good dark. Lele, I think is going to be very good. I think it's better than Coco this gen, personally. It didn't rely on terrain as much as Coco did. It can still hit incredibly hard, and Moonblast is just as strong as it always was. And the fact that he got it round 5 is great. The weird thing about this draft to me is that there are like too many weird mons that were picked kind of early, like Buzzwole, Registeel, kind of picked early, I feel. But he did pick round 5 Lele, so hey.
I think my biggest problem with team is that it's so slow.
Right.
Your fastest mon is Tentacruel, and Tentacruel's not his fast mon. So really, it's your fastest mon, essentially Hydreigon. So it's like gonna force your stuff like Hydra, Lele to run like Scarf, essentially. Which like they're good Scarfers, but Hydra is like so diverse now with like Accident Plot, all that jazz. Yeah. It's really useful. Lele's a good Scarfer, but again, it's a little bit weaker now this gen with this like terrain nerf. Buzzwole's a good Scarfer. Like he has good Scarf options to like help him in that regard, but it's just a slow team.
It's a very slow team. I don't know what Mola is doing on this team. He's already got Tentacruel.
Assume Wish Pass.
Yeah,
I guess.
The Olomo Regicore.
Yeah, the Olomo Regi. Amazing core.
Again,
Stick.
Yeah, Kangas can pass as well, so
That's true.
I guess they're both weak to fighting. Yeah, I don't know. Overall, I think he will do well with this team, but I'm very curious to see how.
Yeah, it's slowly. He'll be fine.
Yeah, he'll be fine. He'll make something work.
Question about this team is the fact, we're going to finally touch on it, that terrain was nerfed in a couple of ways. One, that the boost is now 1.3 compared to 1.5, and that defog can now get rid of terrain. That being said, Lolly did triple down on it with 3 psychic types. And especially with the loss of pursuit, how much stronger do you think psychics have gotten this gen? With taking into consideration that we don't have pursuit anymore, but we also don't have signal beam anymore.
Right. I think psychics overall got buffed this gen. I think pursuit is like a huge thing for psychics. Like you cannot lock into a psychic type move and expect to be safe. This is most teams. It's a huge kind of, even if it doesn't actually play out, it's a huge mind game. Like you really don't want to lock into your psychic move. Even with the Lele, like Lele doesn't love taking a pursuit. So I think locking into a psychic type move is gonna be like kind of free this gen, especially with the Lolly's team when he's got Hydreigon and Buzzwole, which both have reliable recovery and are very bulky, especially Buzzwole. And don't really care about taking a knockoff or any type of dark move. So with that regard, I think it's gonna be very strong. I think Mellow is a great sort of choice user as well, whether it be Specs or Scarf. Now with Z not being a thing, then Psychic Terrain is going to be a force to be reckoned with.
And now our Kill Leader and X Factor for this team, Clutch.
Kill Leader is probably Lele, because it's Lele, and it's still very good. I think the X Factors are honestly going to be Buzzwole. Buzzwole is one of those Pokemon that can just not die if it's given the chance. Like it's such a good push on this team. I think it fits really well, and like he has good he's good psychic switches to back it up with a triple psychic plus Hydra plus Reggie. So
it has just enough SPDEF where it doesn't just die to any special move, unlike Cortana.
Yeah. And a lack of HP flying will help out as well, so you don't get just like random grounds just like that have HP flying for no reason to hit your Buzzwole.
That is a good point that we didn't even mention on Lando, is that its flying step is literally fly now.
Yeah, no Z moves. That'll help.
Who runs flies at Lando?
Yeah, who even runs fly Lando? Sparky, come back.
Moving on now, we have two Copenhagen teams.
We do.
We have coming back from last season, Gentleman Thomas, coach of the Copenhagen Gallades, and he had the first pick. And like a lot of people, national decks or not, they wanted to get their hands on Dragapult.
New toys.
Dragapult, Ferrothorn, Seismitoad, Silvally, which isn't... I can't say the nickname for it because this is a PG. We're on YouTube, we don't want to get demonetized. But
who has monetization?
Drapion, Rhydon, Raichu, Galarian Weezing, Dodrio, Necrozma, and Blaziken. Strengths and weaknesses of this team.
So I think Necrozma is really, really good. I think I was talking about it. I think it's good. I think it's probably the best Pokemon on this team, for sure. I think Dragapult is... I'm not sure what to think of Dragapult quite yet. I'm still kind of out on it right now. I think it's good, but I think there's a lot of things that overmatch it. The hazard...
Very utility-based more than...
I feel like it will be, and you had to get really creative with it for it to really do work. I do like the hazard potential in this team. He has every type of hazard between, get your spikes from Ferrothorn, rocks from Toad, and Pharaoh, and Rhydon, like all that. And he has T-spikes from two different options. Yeah, rocks on Necrozma. The speed is very nice. It's always good to have that elite speed tier of Dragapult. I think that's why you keep seeing it going, right? Because that elite speed tier on Dragapult is so nice to have. It's so fast.
Exactly. Yeah, so I think a lot of how well this team performs is going to depend on how Thomas builds, because I think Pokemon like Dragapult and Necrozma really depend on the builder, especially Necrozma. Like, you really want to bring out its full potential. It's got even more options than it did previously, which it had a lot of options before. And now it's got, Dragon Dance, one of the better setup moves in the game, and paired with Dragapult, you can also Dragon Dance while also doing a bunch of other stuff like Special Wisp, T-Wave, U-Turn, and all that stuff. I love the hazards on this team. And as for weaknesses, I think it's almost got too many support options. Like, I know that kind of sounds weird, but by that regard, he's like missing some sort of like high tier offense, I think, because both of his tier 2s are sort of support mons. His tier 3s are pretty much support mons as well, and his like other offensive options are like lower tiers, like Blaziken and Dodrio. So I think maybe that could have been shifted. And Silvally is going to be interesting as well. It did get buffed. It does have a 120.
That should be my question: is how big of a buff is the because it's always been that like just less than a mythical with the 95 across the board, and then multi-attack was also I think like 90 or 95. Now that it's boosted to 120, is Silvally finally good now?
Yeah, so I think multi-attack was 90, yeah. Anyway, I think it's better, obviously, and I think the SD set is kind of viable now, which is good. And it can be more offensive than defensive, and like I said earlier, it's gonna really depend on how Thomas uses it.
Yeah, I think it's okay now. I don't think it was very good last year. Just didn't hit hard enough, and it was like this utility piece that just ended up dying. I think. Like.
Right.
Bonus question then. What type of Savali do you see him using most often for this team?
Fighting, perhaps. He doesn't have one, and I mean he has Blaziken, but I don't know. It feels more like fire.
I have no idea.
Yeah, which is a good thing for Thomas.
Yeah, he has freedom.
Yeah.
Ultimately, not knowing what it is, it helps Savali a lot more.
Exactly. Like ground, maybe. I don't know. It's just tough. But yeah, it's a good pick. I think he just needs to use it well.
Right, Clutch, your kills leader and X Factor.
Kill leader's Necro. I think the X Factor is honestly Ferrothorn. I think Hazard's gonna be really important for this team to like really be successful. Because Necro's not that strong. A lot of his big high offense pieces aren't that strong. They really rely on those hazards to take advantage of the offensive pieces. Like, so I think Ferrothorn is gonna be really, really important. Honestly.
Yeah. Before you move on, Btown, one thing I want to mention is that one of the best ways of dealing with Necro is Toxic, and he does have Misty Terrain on this team should he wish to run it.
That's true.
Very interesting. Now moving on, I lied. There were 4 people. I know Kyle's probably yelling at me. Kyle has been on every single season. I'm sorry, Kyle. I love you. I didn't mean it. Kyle has been in every single season of the PBL. And he is the coach of the Jacksonville Jolteons. And he has a cool team led by a cool dude named the Galler Darmanitan. Also has Superior, Bronzong, Gastrodon, Skuntank, Rotom Fan, Buffalant, Infernape, Mega Altaria, Lycanroc, I think that's just day form, I think.
Yeah.
And then Sableye. Alright, strengths and weaknesses of this team.
It's a team that Kyle looks like he's comfortable with. This is a team just like look at Kyle drafts and like, oh yeah, Kyle drafted this. It's very like you just see like, oh yeah, this is the Kyle team. Like just G-Darm is stupid.
Yeah.
It's one of
Or
those
actually
things.
talks about would we ban it or not, but we decided not to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just one of those things you just like you look at it and you go, oh, I don't have switches to this.
I don't know.
I'm an ice type with a flare blitz.
And yeah, U-turn hits like a truck, and it's certainly something. He's got the good amount of options, you know, Rotom Fan, Infernape, options for that end. He has good like defensive back end, Bronzong, Gastrodon, Altaria, all that stuff. Like he's got pieces, and you know, it's just a team. It's a decent team.
Yeah, it's a team that's not missing a key piece, which is good. Because like I've seen Guile drafts some teams with like no grass or like no steel, and like you know that's usually not a good thing. But anyways, apart from that, I think his usage of Superior is going to be kind of important, like especially now that it doesn't get hidden power. Like he's going to have to, you know, get more creative with it, with you know stuff like Glare or Leaf Seed, or you know Sub stuff like that. And also Infernape, you know, just being a very versatile mon. If he can like bring that Infernape's full potential, that'll be very good. Altaria, I guess, did get nerfed as well because it doesn't have return anymore.
That is
so
true. Yeah.
that's going to be interesting. I mean, obviously it can still be special, and it can be facade. Pretty, like, it's not ideal, but it's okay. Especially because, like, Altaria is really bulky. It can, like, set up and be facade and be okay. And the fact that he's got Darm and Infernape to kind of, like, break / clean is very useful there as well. As for weaknesses, maybe he's a bit fighting weak, with Altaria as sort of the main resist, and Sableye kind of being a bit weird. Yeah. It's gonna be pretty reliant on Altaria, I think.
Question for Dragon.
Yeah.
We've touched a bit about about 4-slot syndrome, move slot syndrome, and Rotom Fan is one of those that just because it never had a high hitting attack, it didn't have a hurricane, it got air slash, it got the short end of the stick on the thing. Now that it has nasty plot, does it seem as a more formidable foe, or do you still see it as more of a more of a support mon?
I think it's better at dealing with grounds than most electrics, actually, because it has a secondary stab, you know, like, capable of using, and it's not weak to ground. So, I think people should prep for it, and if I faced a Rotom Fan, I would prep for Nasty Plot. So to answer your question, yes, I think it's actually kind of a threat. Because, I mean, it is a good special attack, as all Rotoms do, and it's not, you know, it's super easy to kill. It's got Zapdos' typing, so it's only got 2 weaknesses. So, yeah, I think it's kind of a threat.
Right. Rotom Fan, been waiting 4 gens to finally be a threat. After being basically the one that, hey, I'm the guy who carries the bags. Alright, Clutch, the X Factor and Kill Leader.
Kill Leader's Darm.
Okay, different question. Over under 15 kills.
Over. I think it's ridiculous. And the fact that its best move to spam is an ice move that flinches.
Yeah.
You see it on ladder all the time, or you saw it on ladder all the time.
Yeah.
It got flinches.
I think it's such a Kyle Mon. Sorry to interrupt, Clutch, but
Yeah,
yeah,
fine. It's Darm. I think over 15 kills.
Yeah.
X Factor, I'd say Infernape. If I'm kind of the X Factor here, because you need something to help break down waters for Darm to like have end games. I think so. Like Infernape can definitely do that pretty easily. I feel.
Moving on to our next team, the Kajani Septa. Is that how you pronounce it?
I think so.
I think so.
Sealy can yell at us later.
Coached by Sealy, the team consists of Jirachi, Nidoking, Vaporeon, Comfey, Alolan Persian, Jolteon, Dusk Noir, Tapu Bulu, Mega Charizard X, Armaldo, and Primate. Strengths and weaknesses of this team.
Yeah, it can go first.
No, go ahead. You're fine.
So, by the way, just real shout out. I love the holiday theme version of this logo.
For sure.
All yours, M-Dragon. Or not. Oh,
You guys, strengths and weaknesses.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
My bad. So, I think the Bulu Rachi Zard is a really nice core. I think paired with support like Vaporeon and Nidoking, it's a really strong offensive set that a lot of species can be run a little more defensively and very successfully. Rachi's a good defensive mon. Can also has a wide variety of sets. You know, it always makes me cry when people just run T-Wave or Scarf. It makes me sad. Please don't do that, Sealy. You will make me sad. I think Comfey is a decent Pokemon. I think the big thing I have against this team, where did that accent come from? I have against this team is the fast mons aren't necessarily good fast mons. Like Jolteon and Persian are not great fast mons. Persian took a hit this gen. It still has utility options, Taunt, Toxic, Parting Shot, all that jazz. Lost the Z Parting Shot though, which is kind of big.
Yeah.
But I don't think Jolteon's very good at all. I think it's really, really bad actually. I already thought Jolteon was kind of bad, and now it's even worse. So.
Doesn't have hidden power anymore.
Yeah.
Or signal beam.
Or signal beam.
I feel like by Gen 10, Jolteon is not even gonna have a ton of It's gonna be so sad.
So,
Oh,
oh, okay.
yeah. Anyways, I think like this team's kind of super top heavy, like Clutch was saying. I really like Bulu, Zardax, and Jirachi, but other than that, like even though Nita King and Vaporeon and Comfy are kind of good, like others just feel like really lacking. That's my main sort of issue with this team. But I think if Bulu, Zard, and Jirachi can do well, which they will, can be very successful.
Yeah. I think I'm as a. It was one of those mons. Okay. So. Again, with the speed tiers in particular, you mentioned that, if you take away those, if you take away Jolteon and Alolan Persian, your next fastest mons are all base 100. Do you see this team maybe needing to rely a lot more on Scarf?
Yes and no. I think that Rachi might end up being forced into speed control, which is kind of unfortunate. But he does have like good like set of options and something like Charizard X. I think I think he has decent priority as well, and like Comfy as well.
Right.
Comfy's good priority, but I do see that Rachi may end up being locked to like a scarf role, which is kind of sad because it's such a good Pokemon outside of it.
For sure. Oh, maybe Nidoking. Yeah.
Yeah, Nidoking and Scarf as well, but
Nidoking's okay. But I feel like Nidoking not being choiced makes it like so much more threatening.
yeah.
And Kill Leader and X Factor.
Oh, Clutch, you answering that?
No, that's yours. Hello? Oh shoot, that is me, isn't it?
That is you.
That is me, isn't it? It's a shield.
Yeah.
Kill Leader, Zard, X Factor is probably gonna end up being Bulu despite the nerf. I think Bulu's still decent.
Yeah.
Hammer still hurts a lot.
Yeah, Woodhammer still hurts. Still a life orb, like extra life orb on command. So like, it hurts. Yeah. So that's how we're going for it. I think Zard's still really good. Zard's very good.
Never forget, Charizard is never going away.
Charizard's never going away. That is a true statement.
Now we're moving on to the next team on our list. The one by our lovely host over here, Clutch, the Kansas City Kingdra.
Oh jeez.
That's what everyone says when they look at the first mon on this list. And that is a Zygarde, 50%.
That is indeed a Zygarde.
Along with that is a Celebi, Capraja. I think that's how you...
Caparaja.
Caparaja? I like to think Capraja. Caparaja. Chandelure, Granbull. You drafted Zoro on your team. That was a very big brain move.
Big brain.
Kecleon, Tornadus Therian, Toxapex, Throw, and Barbaracle. Strengths and weaknesses of this team.
I guess I'll talk about it.
Yeah,
then.
thanks.
Strengths, Zygarde and Torn and Pex are very good together. I think Zygarde is one of the most broken mons that we've allowed, especially now because it's like unkillable now. Like it was before as well, but now it's even more unkillable. Yeah, it's momentum of Torn and Zygarde just being able to set up and do whatever it wants. I like that it's got Chandelure, which is like really nice. Grassbreaker, you know, kind of in addition to Torn. I think Celebi is really like good and underrated. It's not been used much at all by people. Like people pick up other grass types because of Physiotune weakness, but I think Celebi's got a lot of options. It's a great rocker. It's a great like setup mon. It's got very reliable recovery. It's one of the few grasses that actually gets recovered and not synthesis. It's a natural cure, which means like this team doesn't care about toxic at all between Toxapex and Celebi, and doesn't care about T-Wave as well. So yeah,
mentioning that even though U-turn is still there, Signal Beam is gone. So from the special side, at least, it doesn't have that 4 times.
Yeah, Calm Mind sets get a little bit
correct.
better in that sense.
Correct. And speaking of a U-turn, he's got 2 regenerating U-turn resist. So.
Instead of U-turn, you end up running into stuff like Torn and Pex. Yeah, it's a little. It's there.
All right. So, question I always ask this whenever somebody drafts a Zoroark: what is the most deadly disguise for Zoroark on this team? As in, which mon can really like mess up a person if they're able to pull off the disguise?
Well, I know what I would like to say here. Like, I'm not.
That's why we're not having you answer.
I know exactly what I'd like to say.
I don't know. That's a tough one. Maybe Celebi? Like, I guess maybe Celebi.
My question directly for you, Clutch. Do you feel proud of yourself for putting Toxapex and Zygarde on the same team with each other?
Yes, I do. I do indeed.
Alright, X Factor and Kill Leader.
X Factor, I think, is honestly, I do think is Torn. And honestly, Kill Leader, I don't think Zygarde will be the Kill Leader. I'm gonna be fully honest on that. I don't think Zygarde's gonna be the Kill Leader in this team. I think Zygarde will like be it bare and will tear down like half of somebody's team, but like won't exactly kill it because that's how this works apparently. So I think it might end up being Celebi. I'm not entirely sure. I'm gonna be fully honest. The Kill Leader's kind of hard on this team. It's
going to be Throw, obviously.
y'all want to throw? It's all I've heard is like,
I don't want to say that was a throw on that pick, but
it is technically a throw. I don't know. I think the team's kind of. I think the team is well balanced. It's really hard to pick an Kill Leader on this kind of team, I feel.
Moving on to if we did a power rankings, this team would probably be number 1, and that is the Monterrey Gyarados, coached by Mora. Let's just say Mora really took a notice to the lack of hidden power on this team with Mega Scizor, Greninja, Amoonguss, Gardevoir, Electros, Rhyperior, Pyroar, Garchomp, Milotic, Tornadus, and then Haunter, just so it wasn't a complete stunt. Strengths and weaknesses.
I really love Scizor Chomp. It was already good. Now it's better. Essentially, Mora just has threats, some spikes, a Melodic, and an Amoonguss. Like, this is a team that Mora looks like he'll be very comfortable with. It is a very difficult team to deal with, just in total. Stuff like Scizor and Chomp have to be dealt with. Especially with like Hidden Power. You can't just like slap Hidden Power Fire on stuff for Scizor. Like that's like half of what people did for Scizor. It's like, oh well, I gotta bring Hidden Power Fire on my random Pokemon. So I can try to KO it. It's like, okay.
Yeah, this is a very, very, very good balanced team. Probably the best one in this draft, in this league. It's just got threats, it's got hazards, and it's got bulk, and good speed. Like,
Gran is great speed.
Granny's got priority, it's got good Scarfers and Chomp and Guard. Torn is good, great walls in the form of, Amoonguss, Scizor, Milotic, Rhyperior, and nice pivot in like Electros, and Pyro is kind of cool. It's not completely terrible. Haunter is okay, I guess.
It's there. It's a ghost. Cool pick, I guess.
It's there. This team just doesn't really have any holes. Like, that's what I notice about this team. Like, that's the first thing I noticed. Like, it doesn't have a hole.
Yeah.
if there, all right, well then, if there was one, I guess you kind of answered my question for it, but if there was one thing that you would want to change about this team,
I don't think Torn's a very good Pokemon. I'd take a bulkier flying type over Torn, but that's probably about it.
Yeah, I think it's the best option he had at that point in the draft. He picked it very late.
I mean, Tornai is an odd Pokemon.
Yeah.
I'm not really the biggest fan. I think it has options, but like it's not like we're not being.
I think.
will we be banning Garchomp when it gets Dragon Dance?
No comment.
That's a tough one.
No comment.
That's a tough one. Clutch thinks it won't get Dragon Dance, right?
I think Game Freak's gonna mess over.
It's just a conspiracy by Game Freak.
We're gonna get to Game Freak conspiracy and not give it Dragon
If
Dance.
Garchomp doesn't get Dragon Dance, I'm quitting Mons forever. That's my favorite Mon. Like, let down yet again. Like, come on, Game Freak.
Now, X Factor and Kills Leader.
I think Kill Leader is Scizor. I think Scissor's gonna just run people. I think the X Factors have like Grand though. I think Spike. I think the Adept. What am I saying? The ability to get spikes on the field for this team is gonna be too much. The removal on this team isn't very good. That's like the biggest weakness of it. But he can just outspike everybody and not care. So.
It's the best spiker in the format still, I think.
Alright, so yeah. So there we go. That's my question. Do you think that for you, Adam Dragon, a legit question?
Yeah.
The lack of removal. Do you think you'll be? Do you see how potentially big of a problem is it, and how best to be able to mitigate that?
I don't think it's too big of an issue, to be honest. Like, Milotic, like, while it cares about rocks, it doesn't care too much. Like, Chomp doesn't care about rocks. Scizor, like, it's really bulky, can roost up. Grand's frail anyway, Moongoose can regen. And if he really wants to bring Defog, he can bring Tone. Or he can bring it on Scizor. Like, I personally don't think it'll make a huge difference for this team.
The team isn't that weak to hazards, which is...
It's not. It's not.
Also, boots are broken anyway, so who needs to be...
Yeah.
why be hazard weak when you can run boots on all six Pokemon?
Like, he doesn't have a great boots user. Like, Pyro, I guess. Yeah.
Torn. Kinda better.
Torn, yeah. Torn with boots.
I'm just imagining that tail is just has a boot on the end of it. I'm pretty sure. Clutch, I'm sorry, I'm gonna make future Clutch do some work. I want a picture of the Volcarona in a boot, please.
Heard. Let's see what I can do.
Because that is my favorite picture of immediately the Pokemon I thought of when Boots was first announced. It's just absolutely perfection. All right. Yeah. Now, last but not least, our defending champion, the Ottawa Garchomp, coached by Pesky, we had a points draft last time, and he chose to basically go in with the advanced metrics and basically spend all his points on the high mons and then just fill it out with little niche rolls. Kind of did a similar thing. We had tiers this time, so not as advanced, but still a very top-heavy team with Celesteela, Suicune, Rillaboom, Centiskorch, Hitmonchan, Exploud, Volby, Tapu Koko, Mega Alakazam, his beloved Dusclops, and Stunfisk. Strengths and weaknesses of this team.
I mean,
and if you can't find a picture of that, I want the picture of the Centiskorch with a million boots.
I think that I think Sally, Coco, Zam, Suicune, it's so nice. Like, those four are so nice. I'm not sure about Coon in electric terrain, but yeah, just be smart with your electric training. You're fine. So I think those 4 are super nice. I don't like. It's just like you look at those 4 and you go, wow, that's really nice. And like,
Yeah.
I think it really falls off of there. I think.
Yeah.
I think you can have. I think his only rocker is Stunfisk, right?
Stunfisk. Yeah, that's his only rocker.
His only rocker is
actually.
Stunfisk, which is kind of. I think solo rockers on 11-month teams are kind of bad. Especially when it's Stunfisk, which is like okay, but you don't want to bring Stunfisk next to Coco.
Yeah.
Centiskorch is cool. It's a really cool like grass killer for the team. Next to granted you don't really need it next to Celesteela, but it's there. It's cool. It's a good fairy resist. Helps out in that sense for like Selly, so you don't just like lose to fires and all that jazz. But so like Selly, Kun, Coco, Zam will probably carry most matchups anyway. Like
For sure. What I'm missing is what he's missing here is I think 100 speed tier or something around there.
He dips from 130 to 85.
Yeah, that's
a
really
huge drop.
That is an absolute massive gap, and I don't like that at all. Like the
At
base.
25 to 32.
Yeah.
Right.
Nice
Right.
speed gear.
So anything from like base 100 to base 1, essentially base 100 up can run modest. Or,
Yeah,
like plus
that's
plus attack majors against this team.
It's very not good.
Yeah, it's very not good.
Yeah.
It's an interesting team. I think the top will carry a lot of matchups, but I do think that the lower tiers are not as good as they can be.
Yeah, I think it's a good team. Overall, it's got its ups and downs. A bit like having only one rocker and not having any speed between 85 and 130 is it's pretty bad, I think. But other than that, it's got what it needs to win.
Right. Question. Because it always happens. You mentioned the top 4, but which of the lower tier mons do you expect to be very useful? Last season it was Dusclops. Ended up being very, or was it Dusknoir? I forget which one he had.
I think it was.
It was Dusclops, yep.
Which one do you think it'd be Dusclops again? Do you see maybe Volibee? Do you see Exploud?
I think it's Stunfisk,
having a renaissance.
right? It has to be Stunfisk.
It has to be
He's got to
Stunfisk.
bring it for rocks. Like, you've got to get your rocks up, you know, for stuff like Steeler and Coon and Coco and like everything.
And now, last but not least, X Factor and Kills Leader.
X Factor is probably Selly. I think the kill leader is gonna be Zam. Because Zam is, despite being like, you know, maybe a little less good this gen without barrier, access to all that, I do think it's still very good, and the speed tier is going to be super valuable in this team. And the lack of like true fighting checks means that Zam's going to have to come in on fightings and just like fire off psychics. So I definitely think Selly's still just Selly. So like, it's that, and Zam's still like, those mods are just too good to pass on, I think. So
Yeah.
Right. And one last thing before we go. I didn't even tell them about this, so they're learning about this for the first time on live. We're doing it live.
oh geez.
Okay.
I want you to give me, based just solely on these drafts, your finals prediction.
Oh gosh.
Oh god, that's tough.
Oh man.
The 2 teams?
One from one from sword, one from shield.
More out of shield. I definitely would say that one.
Okay. Do I count the coach into your count or no?
You
Just
can.
the draft.
Just the draft.
okay.
Still more.
Basically, this is my roundabout way of doing power rankings.
I didn't like a lot sword drafts.
Yeah, I'll pick Melee from Shield. I think it's pretty obvious.
Yeah. Sword drafts. I'd say Frozen at a sword. I do think that like Sam's draft is also like high potential as well. But Frozen's draft just looks nice.
So looking at the matchup, yeah, I'll pick Sam actually. Yeah, Sam and Vara. There you go.
I am actually going to throw a bit of a curveball at you.
Ooh.
Ooh.
I am going to also say, I'm also going to say Frozen from Sword, but I'm going to pick a different Shield team.
Ooh.
You know where this is going.
Oh no! Please don't. Please don't.
Your team, Clutch.
No. Pressure.
I really like it.
It's a cool
We
team.
didn't even talk about Capraja, and it's a really cool mod.
Kafraja, I think, has a lot of potential.
Capraja.
Yeah.
I think Capraja is really fun.
I'm sorry, I'm never gonna pronounce it right. I'm sorry.
just call it Raj.
But Raj.
Everyone calls it Raj.
Anyway, I'll go ahead and pass it back to you, Clutch.
Alright.
Thank you for
Of course.
letting me take over there for a bit.
Of course. All right, so that's gonna do it for all of us here. I think I plan on doing content. I'm not sure yet. I think I'm gonna do content for this. But until then, I'll see you guys later. Peace out.
Yeah, see you guys. Have a go.